Hi, for my midterm cultural plunge, I decided that I would visit the Church of Jesus Christ of the Latter-day Saints. I am a Roman Catholic. I converted to Catholicism when I was like 18 years old. So the Catholic Church and the Church of Jesus Christ of the Latter-day Saints are very different, but they do have some similarities. And unfortunately, one of the not so great similarities is that there's lots of rumors about both of them. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, they also say the LDS Church, is known as the Mormon Church, and I had heard that Mormons believe in more than one wife. They believe that you can't have coffee because it'll kill you, or that you can't drink soda pop because God will come after you, and none of that's true. Some of it does have truth to it, like they do not drink coffee, but all of those facts were just lost in lies. I really wanted to visit this church because when I was at high school, we were a part of a Christian group, a Christian Bible club, and the preacher there actually said, and he was from the Baptist church, said that Mormons weren't Christians, and I was very confused by that. I didn't understand why he would say such a horrible thing, or say something that was, I guess, no, seriously, to say something that would judge someone else's faith, especially when he's supposed to be an adult and try to get people to get more involved and feel safe and loved at school. That really, really bothered me, especially because hopefully one day I have my own classroom and I want my students to be able to feel comfortable. So I decided to go to this church, and I actually contacted a girl named Kara. She gave me permission to reference her in my video. Her name is Kara. That's all she would prefer me to say. But we did go to high school together. She graduated a couple years ahead of me. But I knew that she was an LDS member, so she could help me find a church in the right direction and help me understand the faith more than just based off of research, because I felt like I wanted to have someone to kind of guide me through the research, or at least point me in the right direction a little bit. Anyway, so we were sent to the Columbus, Ohio church, and we were in the YSA ward, and that stands for Young Single Adults. The ward is how much is cared for. So the ward is basically their congregation. I found like that was a difference. For Catholics, you are a part of a church and that's your congregation. You don't really have, and then you have dioceses though. So like, I'm part of the Diocese of Covington, so that means that we have one bishop for the whole diocese and he helps everybody. This was different. This was more like their ward was really people of age 18 to 32. I'm trying to persuade this and explain everything, not really persuade, but explain everything in a way that isn't offensive, that isn't harsh or confusing, because I had some mixed emotions going into a church that wasn't my religion. My first thought was, are they going to shut the door in my face? are they going to see my cross necklace and be like, why do you have that if you're not ours? Like, why do you have that if you're not our faith? Like, that kind of freaked me out a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. But finally, we got there. We had to leave at like 10 a.m. to go to Columbus, Ohio, which is a while away from our house. And we get there about 11 o'clock. And the first class we go to, and it's actually called a class, they bring books, they have pens, they have notebooks. It's like a class. It's an academic class, which I found interesting. She also had a calculator because the class that we were going to was called a personal finance class. And it was teaching these YSAs, young single adults, how to manage a budget in the household, how to pay their bills when they're married and when they're single, like how to have your own place when you're married versus when you're single, or all of that. And I'm thinking to myself, why don't we have a class like that? This would be so helpful. This would be so helpful. And I was a little jealous. I was like, man. But I did feel like the reason that they had YSAs or young single adults together was because they wanted marriages. And I'm not trying to jump to that conclusion from what I saw and what Kara talked to me about, and a couple other people there who weren't comfortable telling me their, or aren't comfortable with me saying their names. That's their underlying thing, is they want them to be able to provide for themselves, but also to ultimately provide for a family, to find that Mormon wife or husband and get married in the church and have children in the church, and to be upstanding citizens in the church. That's their whole goal there. And an elder actually told me that. He was very kind. He was an older man, and he was married, and he had met his wife in their YSA ward. So it's like, he said, it's not arranged marriages, but it sort of is. Like, you are free to choose whoever, but we would prefer that you choose these people. And I learned that the church does not approve of dating under the age of 16. So that's why when the YSA ward is at 18 to 32 versus younger. I did notice, I did feel uncomfortable because I noticed people looking at me because I was out of place. They could tell, I guess, that I wasn't a part of their church because they didn't know who I was. Everyone was friendly, everyone was smiling, but there was like this underlying thing of them kind of looking at me and expecting me to be like, oh, hi, I'm new, I just joined your church, or like, hi, I'm visiting. And it felt like they were waiting for me to explain what I was doing there, to be honest. I'm not sure if that's something that Sensoi would comment on, but I do feel like he would comment on, honestly, I think he would comment on the socialization structure of everything, because it was structured in a way that girls sat here, boys sat there, and then visitors were expected to talk to people afterward, and it was just different. The elder called me Samantha. I go by Sam. My name's Sam because my parents have called me Sam since I was little. It's because of the fact that my grandfathers were Samuel, and it just has a very important meaning to my family that I became a Sam. So it kind of bothered me a little bit that he said Samantha. And he goes, "Is it short for Samantha?" And I said, "Technically, yes." And then Kara looked over at me and said, "I never knew your name was Samantha." And I'm like, honestly, it's because it's not. My name is not Samantha. My name is Sam. My own mother will call me Samantha only when I'm in severe trouble, but even then it's rare. It's because it's not my name. It is, but it's not at the same time. It may be my name on a piece of paper, but that's not who I am. My great grandfather did call me Samantha because he was older and he was Samuel, so he called me Samantha. But it just felt kind of off, and I felt a little uncomfortable. And it may seem like such a small thing to someone else, but I guess I felt like an outsider more than I did. And people might say, "Oh, well, you're just being dramatic," but the truth is that my name really means a lot to me. After that class, we went to the sacrament. And the sacrament was your typical church setting in something called a sanctuary. So we sat in a pew. We did not kneel like the Catholics. We did not bow. Also, when we were given bread as the body of Christ, we were given water instead of wine. And at a Catholic church, you're given wine for the blood of Christ. So there you were given like a little shot glass of water. Not to say just that kind of portion. I did immediately notice that difference. But the biggest difference I noticed is that every female was wearing a skirt. Yeah. I mean, every single woman, every single female, young, old, didn't matter the age, was wearing a skirt or dress that went past their knees. And to me, I was like, whoa, wait a second here. Like, hold up, wait. I'm allowed to wear pants at my church. Are you not allowed to wear pants here? And I caught myself saying that, and then I realized I was judging. And that's not okay. So I immediately stopped my train of thought and was like, okay, well, that just might be, different. I didn't want to ask anyone because I didn't want to offend anyone. I didn't want them to think that I was judging, even though my first thoughts were judging. And I don't know if it's just because that's what I've seen or I've done. I'm not sure. But I sincerely apologize for my first thoughts being judging. But I feel like in order to do this project, I have to remain 100% honest. I believe that it was actually the book, Is Everyone Really Equal? When we talked about prejudices, I thought, wow, that's my prejudice. Or that's part of my prejudice. I was like, yeah, that's it. That makes sense. That connects. But to continue, sorry to get off track, but I felt like that was important to include, that I did recognize that my own prejudice was there. That was another hour of church. So now we're into 2 hours of church. And I'm used to my 1 hour. So then we go and we're on a 2 hour. And I'm like, oh man, I'm ready for food. So the final hour, boys and girls are split yet again. The guys are all, the men, young men, are all in the priesthood. They're all allowed to serve in the church. They're all allowed to give the bread and the sacrament and the water, not the wine. I almost said wine. See, Catholic wine. That's a big difference. They're allowed to bless people. They're allowed to give baptisms, all through going through their classes and getting their training. Women are not allowed to do any of that. The women go to the Relief Society. I walked around that church probably about 5 times looking for the Relief Society room. I easily found the priesthood room. It was huge. You couldn't have missed it. But finally I found the Relief Society room, and it was kind of like a living room. It was cozy. It had some soft chairs. It had a piano. It had flowers everywhere. It was pink. It was very feminine, which I thought was very nice. It was obvious that they truly loved this part of their church. I immediately found that out just by looking around the room and the care that they took into it. Again, I felt like this little teeny weeny spark of jealousy, like, man, we need this in my church. Man, this is nice. So, they started talking about how it was set up as a discussion. So the discussion was going, and through my head, I'm thinking, oh, well, this is a nice discussion about obstacles in our way and how God can help us go over the obstacles. And I'm just sort of thinking to myself, they really truly believe that there's God and that there is a Jesus. And if there's one similarity in our religions, it's that we both believe that Jesus died on the cross for us. And finding that common ground, having that revelation in the 3rd hour of church at a different church, I was like, if there were any other differences, it doesn't really matter. Because they breathe air, I breathe air. And then I'm not saying I didn't have some of that perspective going in, but what I am saying is that I certainly never fought the people that started a rumor about the Mormon Church or said something negative. And from now on, I will. Because it's not okay. Because after experiencing 3 hours of church and going over the rules with an elder, a bishop, their bishop, and the Relief Society, their women's study, and some members of their priesthood, the young men, I understand that everyone has trouble and it's not fair to judge everybody. Which, again, I'm not saying I didn't have that going in. I'm just saying that this experience solidified it. Something that seemed to really bother me, though, and I feel like it will show another concept of sensoi is, and actually even outliers, is when I said I was Catholic, there seemed to be a joke about how the first question was, don't you believe in alcohol? And I said, yeah, we're allowed to drink alcohol. And they go, but don't you love alcohol? Don't you drink it all the time? Hold up. What? And this wasn't older gentlemen. These were two older gentlemen. And I'm just like, wait a second. Hold on. And I just thought of how, since they had the power there and they were the elders and they were in their turf, their territory, they had the power, they had the dominance, and they were asserting that for sure. But I stood my ground and I said, yes, we believe in alcohol. You may never drink to intoxication. That goes against the Lord. Yes, we have alcohol at our events, but we do not believe in addiction or alcoholism. We help those who need help, and we give those who need to be given to. And if we want to occasionally have some wine, or we believe wine is the blood of Christ, and we take that during our sacrament, we do. And I said it with a smile on my face, and I tried to laugh politely at their horrible, mean jokes. And I even noticed Kara was uncomfortable with that, because I think she could tell that I was caught off guard and I wasn't comfortable with it. Just because one religion allows one thing and one religion doesn't mean one's right and one's wrong. And it doesn't mean you get a right to say something like that or start questioning and pushing. It's not nice. But again, our assignment was to experience what it's like to be another. And I feel like I did. I was the only Catholic woman in that. And I was the only Catholic person, not even the only Catholic woman. I was the only Catholic person in that church for 3 hours. So, I was definitely a minority for a day, or for that particular occasion. Thank you.